Good afternoon, students. Today we will go through the second part of This is Jodi's Fawn. As you have already gone through the first part, and now you know that this story is written by Marjorie Keenan Rawlings and it revolves around the fawn whose mother was killed to use its liver and heart to extract poison out of Jodi's father, Penny, and it saved its life after a snake bite. So the story is starting with Jodi convincing his father to bring the fawn home and raise it. So let's start the second part. Today we will go through the second part. I hope that you are writing the word meanings in your note copy, in your reader copy. Okay, let's see the second part. So let's see the second part. Jodi gave himself over to thoughts of the fawn. They passed the abandoned clearing. He said, "Cut to the north, Millville. It was up here that Pa got bitten by the snake and killed the doe, and I saw the fawn." Suddenly, Jodi was unwilling to have Millville with him. If the fawn was dead or could not be found, he could not have his disappointment seen. And if the fawn was there, the meeting would be so lovely and so secret that he could not endure to share it. So Jodi busied himself in thinking about the fawn, and they crossed the deserted piece of land in the forest. And Jodi gave direction. He told Millville to turn towards north, where Penny got bitten by a snake. His father got bitten by a snake, and there was the place where he had killed the doe, and he has seen the fawn there only. All of a sudden, Jodi became unwilling to be with Millville because he wondered if the fawn was dead or could not be found. Then he did not want Millville to see his disappointment. On the other hand, if he found the fawn, the union will be very lovely and personal that he could not bring himself to share it. Here, give himself over. Give himself over means to spend all your time and energy doing or feeling something. Abandon means deserted. Clearing means an open space in forest, and endure means handle. Okay, here it means handle. He said, "It is not far now, but the scrub is very thick for a horse. I can make it on foot, but I am afraid to leave you, boy. Suppose you got lost or got bitten by the snake too? I will take care. It might take me long time to find the fawn. If he is wandered, leave me off right here." "All right, but you take it easy now. No north here and east. There and there. That tall pine makes a bearing. So long, Millville, I am obliged." Now, here Jodi is telling Millville that is the point where he saw the fawn, and it is not very far from here. And he suggested that he would go on by foot, as the scrubs ahead are very thick. Scrubs means a kind of plant, small plants. They are very thick and a horse cannot go through them. So Millville was afraid to leave Jodi because already his fathers were bitten by a snake there. So he thinks, Millville is thinking what would happen if he got lost or bitten by a snake too. Then Jodi assures him that he will handle it, and also that it might take a while, it might take him some time to find the fawn in case he is wandered further, because the fawn was alone and he could wander further into the jungle. He told Millville to leave him nearby. Millville follows his direction and he advised him to take it easy. He asked Jodi if he was aware where the north and east was, and Jodi told him by pointing out the east and north, there and there. So he tells Millville that he can understand, he can identify the east also and north also. And he knows that the tall pine tree acts as a compass, and that helps him identifying the spots. Millville remarks that the pine is so long, to which Jodi agrees and expresses his gratefulness. Okay. Next part. He waited for the sound of the hooves to end, then cut to the right. The scrub was still. Only his own crackling of twigs sounded across the silence. He wondered for an instant if he had mistaken his direction. Then a buzzard rose in front of him and flapped into the air. He came into the clearing under the oaks. Buzzard sat in a circle around the carcass of the doe and hissed at him. They turned their heads on their long scrawny necks and hissed at him. He threw his bow at them and they flew into an adjacent tree. The sand showed large cat prints, but the big cats killed fresh and they had left the doe to the carrion birds. So here Jody is waiting for the sound of hooves to end. He is waiting for Melville to leave there, and then he went to the right where he thinks he can find the fawn. The scrub was still. There was no movement, and only his own crackling of twigs when he was walking across the scrubs. He can hear his own footsteps. And suddenly, he wondered for an instant that if he had mistaken the direction. He thinks that maybe he has taken a wrong turn, and suddenly there was a buzzard there. Buzzard is a kind of vulture. He rose in front of him and flapped into the air, and he came into the clearing under the oaks. And buzzard sat in the circle around the carcass of the doe. Carcass means skeleton. So he can see that skeleton of that doe was there only. And buzzards, because vulture, if you have seen vultures, they feast upon the dead meat of other animals. So they were circling the carcass of the doe, and they turned their heads on their long scrawny. They have long scrawny necks, and they hissed at Jody. They thought that Jody was actually there to get the carcass of the doe. So they looked at him with their heads laid on their long neck and hissed at him. Jody threw his bow at them and they flew into a nearby tree. Bow means a branch of a tree. So he had a bow with him and he threw that at them and they flew into a nearby tree. The sand showed the marks of a large cat footprints who had killed it recently and had left the doe for the carrion birds. So Jody can see the footprints of a bigger lion or tiger kind of animal, and the doe was killed by them and they had left the doe for the vultures only. Next part. He parted the grass at the place where he had seen the fawn. It did not seem possible that it was only yesterday. The fawn was not there. He circled the clearing. There was no sound, no sign. The buzzards clacked their wings, impatient to return to their business. He returned to the spot where the fawn had emerged and dropped on all fours, studying the sand for the small hoof prints. The night rain had washed away all the tracks except those of cats and buzzards. So Jody separated the grass from the place where he saw the fawn the previous day, and he could not believe that it had just been a day. The fawn was not there in the place, and Jody searched the abandoned piece of land, but there was no sign of the fawn or sound of fawn. On the other hand, the buzzard made sound with their wings out of desperation to resume what they were doing. They were eating the carcass and they wanted to resume that work. So we have a little bit of comprehension check here. The first question is, Jody did not want Melville with him for two reasons. What were they? It's very easy. He didn't want Melville with him because if the fawn was dead or could not be found, he could not have his disappointment seen by Melville. And the second reason was that if the fawn was there, the meeting would be so lovely and so personal that he could not bring himself to share it. Why was Melville afraid to leave Jody alone? Melville was afraid to leave Jody alone because Melville thought that he would get lost, or maybe he could be bitten by the snake too. So this is the answer of the comprehension check. You can write it in your reader copy along with the comprehension check given by Shipra ma'am, and third part we will do in our next class. So for today, thank you.